Transmitting to you from Old Heart Radio.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, this is another episode of Coffee and Contemplation. I'm your host, Old Heart, aka Jared, aka Dr. Don't Give a Fuck. Why do I say that? Because I just don't care what you call me. I really don't, folks. You don't know me, I don't know you. Well, I know some of you, but you don't know me. Well, some of you know me. I guess I just don't care. Call me whatever. Either way, moving on. So obviously this is another episode of Coffee and Contemplation, an Old Heart Radio podcast. If you're here to listen to this podcast, congratulations. If you forgot what you were listening to and accidentally stumbled on this podcast, please stay. Please stay. Or don't. I don't care. You can go. Go right back out that door. Go right. If you go out that door, I won't come running after you. All right. Yes. Bask in the glory. That applause is for you, you ugly motherfuckers. Today, I'm just kind of reflecting on some current events that are happening. I don't know why. Well, because they're happening around me. That's why. But today is just kind of a current events catch-up, very briefly. Just run through a handful of things that primarily, I gotta admit, primarily United States-related things, which just seems so selfish. So selfish. But there's, some important things to juggle and to think about. Including, the fact that the United Kingdom, that England, the Brexit happened recently. Actually, at the end of last month, I don't know if you all caught this, but Brexit became a reality, and they actually left the EU. They said PU to the EU or CU to the EU. PU EU. Time to see you. God, I'm just gonna stop. So they left. They finally left. All that talk, and Boris Johnson shoved something through. Fuck Boris Johnson, though. That dude's a slob. I watched this report about him, and it was talking about how in private jokes at times he's shown to know that his big bumbling personality, the fact that he looks all fucking disheveled all the time and all this shit, it's just a play. It's to make him look dumb so people don't expect shit from him. It's actually something I joke about regularly. It's like you lower people's expectations of you so they don't know that you can that you're you're 5 steps ahead of them. That's Boris Johnson. Boris Johnson's not nearly as dumb as he looks, and he looks so stupid. But the dude's crafty as fuck, and he's getting what he wants done. And I'm not praising him. I'm just saying he's doing the bidding of whatever he's compelled to do, and he's pulling it off in this guise of just like a bumbling idiot. But people seem to feel like less inclined to feel bad for him, and more just I don't know how this guy got here. But no, it's fucking crazy. It's absolutely crazy. On the other hand, here in America, we have a big fat fucking bumbling idiot in our running our government. His name is Donald Trump. I think he was a radioactive pile of goo that was scraped off of one of the nuclear waste plants, and a wig was put on it, and they just ran it for the Republican primary. Anyway, so Donald Trump, we have this big waste of space, Donald Trump, in the White House, and he just recently went through an impeachment trial. If you can call it that, it was really just a fucking sham and a half. I get that he's not the first president to be acquitted of whatever he was being put on trial for, but this wasn't a real trial. All we had were basically opening statements and then we had the forum of the senators asking questions. But it was really just Republican senators asking questions of the President's Council, and it was Democratic senators asking questions of the House managers who were acting as the prosecutors in the impeachment case, and it was just kind of bullshitty. For what it's worth, I feel like the Democratic House members, the managers, as well as the senators, tried to make as compelling of a case as they could in terms of really like painting a picture, like a very clear, with very clear connections, very clear intents in terms of the president, and it was just blatantly ignored by the Republican senators. And as a reminder, the Republican senators hold a majority in the Senate, even though they represent a minority of the motherfucking country. What bullshit is that? That aside, the unfortunate thing is the great ape, Trump, had a fantastic little week, just like a week ago or so, where he was acquitted from his impeachment because of the Republican shit. Shout outs to anybody listening out there. Shout outs to Mariah and Casey. You guys are fucking awesome. Shout outs to my homie Avi. Shout outs to Castle Roll, my homie co-host. Shout outs to Uncaged and Mooner6. Shout outs to all of my wood. All y'all are fucking great. Shout outs to anybody listening, like I said. Also, go out there and find us on the internets. We're surfing around under the guise of Old Heart Radio on Instagram and iTunes and Spotify, as well as Old Heart in Space on Twitter. So if you want to hop on that, you are more than welcome. So back to the current events. So president was impeached, and that impeachment, that's the thing people need to remember. The impeachment will live on his presidency as a fucking demerit on his presidency for the entirety of history. That shit can't be erased. The fact that he was acquitted can't be erased either. But he was dragged through the impeachment trial, which is what only I think three presidents have had to go through. All right, that is a considerable historic thing, and it's not something to be taken lightly. This fucking idiot, he immediately goes. I'm talking about Trump here, obviously. This idiot immediately goes and starts getting rid of the people that testified against him in this fucking case. It doesn't look shittier, and it doesn't make you look any less guilty than to be vindicated by a corrupt fucking jury, and then to go and fire or serve consequences to the people that talked badly about you. They were just people just doing their jobs. And that's what you got to remind yourself, people. These are just people doing their fucking jobs. And the president has somehow found a way to manipulate our political process in his favor to ignore the crimes that he has done. And that he continues to probably do. Let's just not forget that. But that aside, there's some other big shit going on around the world. All right? We have the outbreak of the corona motherfucking virus. And we're not talking about a bunch of frat boys on spring break cracking open brewskis and doing keg stands, okay? We're talking about a disease, a virus that has sprung out of China and has affected thousands of people now. We have infections up in the numbers are reporting in the thousands now. And generally around the Wuhan area, Wuhan city in the Hubei province in China. But there have been some cases that have spread, other people that have traveled since and have there's been a couple, the first reported case, I'm proud to say this as a Washingtonian, the first reported case of coronavirus in the United States was found in Washington. Yeah! Woo! 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 Yes. So stoked about that. So motherfucking stoked about that. I'm not, people. I'm not. That's dangerous shit. So it's people are dying from this virus. It's affected thousands at this point. It is continuing to spread. It has been classified as a pandemic, I believe, at this point, as well as public emergencies in most countries, I'd say. On January 30th, the International Health Regulations Emergency Committee of the WHO, which is the World Health Organization, declared the outbreak a public health emergency of international concern. That's on the CDC website right now. As well as here in the States, let's see, Secretary Alex Azar declared a public health emergency to aid the nation's healthcare community in responding to this coronavirus. And that also comes with the president's proclamation of suspension of entry as immigrants and non-immigrants proclamation of suspension as entry of immigrants and non-immigrants of persons who pose or risk of transmitting 2019 novel coronavirus. All right, so very wordy. So shit has been spreading, and it doesn't sound. I mean, like, I don't think they have. I mean, they're working on a cure for it, obviously, because this shit's getting out of control. But there's been like no travel coming from China. Like travel. There's been a travel ban pretty much issued. I know here in the States we don't have anybody coming or going. I actually know a couple people over in China right now that are stuck there. I don't think they're near the Wuhan city, but they're in the country itself. And just as a reminder, coronaviruses are a large family of viruses that are common in many different species, like camels, cattle, cats, bats. And that's one of those things. Like the coronavirus springs from, and they think about it, it springs from one of the, probably an animal market, one of those like random exotic animal markets. And that's probably how it got originally contaminated, or a human originally contracted. It was probably from like meat of some sort being passed from one of these markets to their gullet. Which is a whole other thing, man. Oh God, like I'm just saying this. I love eating meat. I'm a meat eater. Okay, my family owned a motherfucking barbecue restaurant. Shout out to my brothers, my barbecue restaurant. When I was growing up, and I just, meat's a fantastic food group, protein, I guess, but it's becoming harder to justify as we go along. Things like you hear about these like reports of like rare animals and like animal meat being contaminated, and you're just like, I don't want to ever fucking touch that. And then you like see all these videos about like, how mass farming is just like fucking up the planet. I don't know. Anyway, a lot of shit going on, current events happening. Whether you believe in the political process or are wondering what pandemics are going around, this has been your current events catch-up. Also, Brexit? Can't believe that happened still. So, go out there, use your brains for good, kids. Why? Because every motherfucking day is a good day. At least if you're alive. And, it's also a good day to ripen up that coconut. Every day. So, my mother's calling me. I'm going to pick up that phone, go out there, keep your stick on the ice.